Lesson 2-1, Integers and Absolute Values. An integer is any number from the set before -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and after. These little dots here means that continues without end. It goes on and on forever with no end. So here we have a number line, and we have 0. This is neither positive nor negative. So 0 does not have a sign that goes with the number. All of the numbers that are to the left of the 0 are negative numbers, and all the numbers that are to the right of the 0 are positive numbers. Now you see on my graph that my arrows here are at the end of the number lines. That represents that those lines and that number line goes on and on and on forever without end. Graphing integers is when you're placing a point on the number line that corresponds with the number you're trying to represent. So we have two examples, -4 and 8. So I first want to draw my number line. Make sure that when you're drawing your number line that your arrows are at each end to represent its continuance. You always want to include a 0. Sometimes the 0 does not have to be in the middle, depending on what numbers you're trying to represent. If you're trying to show a number that is like -212, you don't want to put the 0 in the middle because then your little dash marks are going to be very close together. So you would be able to put your 0 closer to the right-hand side so that you could represent that number. You also do not have to count by ones. You could count by 5s or 10s or hundreds, whatever it is, to make it easiest to get to your point. So my first point is -4, so I count 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so my point goes right there. And you want to make sure that you label those so you know what that is. My next point is +8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I put my point, and I make sure that I label it a +8. That would be how you are graphing the points, -4 and 8. You're just putting a point there. Sometimes you may see where it says graph a set of integers. Again, this is just putting points at each number on the number line. Now we're going to take a look at absolute value. The absolute value of a number is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. So you want to think of absolute value as distance. Don't really pay attention to the positive or the negative sign. It's a distance. So for example, if we have the number line that we have here, and so we wanted to find the absolute value of -5. We need to determine how far is -5 from 0. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the absolute value is 5. The absolute value of 5, again, it's a distance from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you would say is also 5. So no matter what the absolute value is, whether it's a negative or a positive, your absolute value answer is always going to be positive because it is representing a distance, and we do not have a positive or a negative distance. It's just distance. It's how far something is moving, how far something is from 0. Pause the video to try a few examples below. Make sure that you pause the video here because in a few seconds I'm going to start explaining and going through the answers, and you want to have your answers complete before I do that. So let's take a look at the first example. You have the absolute value of -4. Again, we're just thinking about how far is -4 from 0. Well, if we graphed it, 1, 2, 3, 4 is our -4, and so it is 4 points from 0, so it'd be 4. Now the next one is actually using an operation with absolute values. So we have the absolute value of -5, which is 5, the absolute value of negative 2, which is 2, and they want us to subtract those. So now we have 5 minus 2, which is 3. Pause the video to complete the lesson review. I will not be giving you the answers for this example. You need to make sure that you show me this lesson review for verification of the video before going on to the classwork.